I would like to welcome you on this retouching or editing tutorial. We have one picture of my girlfriend which we took like on the beginning of April in Slovakia, in Bratislava. Here was like here was like 15 degrees, so not that much. That's the way she is also wearing her coat. And we had the opportunity to test the new Canon EOS 250 before it was officially released. So in that way we just have the JPEGs. We still don't have the RAW support for that camera, but still we are able to edit the JPEGs. In next tutorials I will show you how to edit RAW files. So we'll start with Capture One. We will edit just the basic adjustments, and after that we will send it to Photoshop and start also real retouching and also some coloring. So let me walk you through this process. So first of all, I will reset everything for the original source file. So you can see, yeah, we have it just on the screen. Okay, what do I need to see is my histogram. So I will see exactly how are the colors or the tones on the image. We can see there is plenty of highlights on this left side, and we have some dark points, for example this tree or a cap. I don't know how to call it exactly. The cap or something she has on top of her head. Okay, we need to add a little bit, just a little bit contrast for the whole image. You can just add contrast, or you can edit it with layers. So we can also add contrast just to moving the left side of the levels. So we can try just a little bit, not that much, because her eyes are going to be too dark. Also, I'm adding a little bit of clarity for the sharpening. If you just stick with small numbers, maximum around 10 on both clarity and structure, you won't see any defects from the clarity itself, but the image itself will look like a little bit more sharp and more edgy. I rather use this type of sharpening than the sharpening tool itself. Okay, we are going to use the second layer mask. We will call them eyes. I will type it in Slovak language, so and we are going to add a little bit of the mask. So when you hit the key B, you will be able to start drawing where you want to have your layer 2 effects. So I just go to like a little bit around the eyes. Also I will change the opacity of this. Because it's too hard. Okay, you will be still able to change the opacity back in here. So when you just start your drawing, then you can decrease your opacity the same way you do it. You will do it in Photoshop. So it's up to you. Okay, so we can see the mask itself. Don't bother me anymore, and we will just increase the brightness. Oh, something happened. I have no idea what. I don't want to have it around here. Okay. And just increase a little bit the brightness itself, so she has a little bit more light around her eyes. Also, we can do dodge and burning here in Capture One, but I think probably most of you don't have the Capture One installed, so that's your homework for the next video. We will do everything else in Photoshop, so I will send it to Photoshop. I still have one of the oldest, I think it's Photoshop CS5 still. I'm going to update it, but as long as I bought it a few years ago, and all the tools it needs to have, I already have there, and anything else that is in CC I don't need at all. Okay, I have here my action. It's called frequency separations. It will divide you the image into the two parts. One part of that image will just have the structure of it, and the second one have just the color tone and the lightness of that image. So that's extremely crucial for this process, that you can split it. And I will create you a whole new video just how to use the frequency separation itself. Also, I will upload you the action for Photoshop, so you don't have to do it, because as you can see here, it's like too many steps just to do it. So I will upload this action for you. So we have this the layer called high. It's the one with structure. So I will copy it and switch it to normal. And the low is just the brightness, colors, and everything else. I'm also always working just with the copies. That way I'm able to edit anything back or just delete it. If I did something wrong or I don't like the result, I can just delete it and still I have the original image. Also, I recommend you doing this because it's much easier, and believe me, after a few hours behind the Photoshop you will realize that it's the best way just to working in copies, and anytime you can go back and edit something differently. So we just use the standard patch tool, healing brush tool. So we will select the source and where to put it, so we will just quickly edit everything she has on her skin. Any defect I will find, or anything I don't like. I like her birthmarks, so I won't retouch them, but as you want, it's up to you always. It's good to communicate it with your model or client or anybody else. If she or he has something they really like about them, for example their birthmarks or something else. So I will leave just those two. This one we can put away, and I will leave this. I will speed it up a little bit so you don't need to see all the process from putting it away, but I think you got the basic idea what we are going to do just with these structure layers. When I am going to edit the second layer or the low layer, I will switch back it to the normal speed. Okay, so I put all of the small defects away. Now we have to edit just a little bit of her skin. So the color tone here, you see some marks, or I don't know how to call it. You see here it's a little bit red, here it's dark. So first of all, I'm going to the low layer, and just to its copy. First of all, I want to remove this part, the dark part under her eyes, because she was probably tired or after all day at work. So I'm using just standard clone stamp, and the mode I will put on lighten, so it will just take if the color from which I am taking it is lighter than the one I want to replace. The opacity is set on 20% and also flow on 20%, and I will take it from current layer. This is most important. You have to take it from current layer or current layer and below, not from all, because you are also going to change the structure of that image. So you can start just putting it here a little bit. And also for the second eye, a little bit tricky here because of her nose, but I think it's fine. Okay, one good friend of mine once told me that the good retoucher is not the person who knows each and every one tool that is in Photoshop, but the one who can set them the right opacity. So I'm going to disable it. After that, enable it and set the right opacity that it won't disturb me that much, and I'm not going to see that it was edited that hard. I think around 20% it's fine. So now I'm going to take a copy of both of these layers and merge them. So I have the layer that already includes my edit of the dark part under her eyes, and now I'm going to unite her skin. So I'm going to take the lasso tool and select this part that I want to unite. Then I already have a shortcut for it, but you can go to filter, blur and Gaussian blur. You can see I already have there a shortcut, and I will have to set the radius a little bit bigger than I was at the beginning when I split it. So we can start something like 18. The one big important thing here is that if it's going to be too big, you will take some color of lightness from the surrounding. Also, where you have the feather, if you have to set it for like 10 or 20, 12 pixels, because otherwise when I take it to 0, and I will put like 60, you see there is the hard edge. So, and we don't want to have it, so put there something like 10 or 12 pixels, the feather. So we are going to take this one. We are taking the part of the skin that's from the lightness and also from the color. It's almost very close to each other, because when we are going to grab also the shades, we'll lose the contrast on her face. So now we can also unite it a little bit also here around the nose. You have to play with the radius and see which one suits you the most. Usually I'm going somewhere around 15 or 18, it's depending on the picture itself, on the size of the skin itself. And what we are doing is right now, I'm going to disable and enable this mode. And you can see, mainly here around her hairs or around her nose, that the skin tone or the skin colors are a little bit united. It's softened, it's straight, it's not so, we can see it here because there are a lot of different spots. So I'm going to give you a little bit more, like around 20, and you can see the difference. This way we are able to unite all of our skin tones to one, I think it's really fast and easy way to do it. Not so hard at all if you know what they're doing. But I think after this tutorial you will become a master in this. You can do it also another way. I will show it to you also. It's not that hard. Okay, you can take your brush. I will just show it to you. You can take normal brush, also take down the opacity, take down the flow. I like to work with 20%, I don't know why. And you can sample the color, also you need to have it really soft. I like to, you will able to take a color, so sample it, and then just brush around. You can see that we change it a little bit, and I think it's look quite good. Okay, so that there is also a possibility. I will just decrease it like to 40%, and I would like to continue with this one. So back to the lasso tool. Don't forget to edit also her neck, or if you see some other skin. I very often see that most of the photographers will just edit their face, and they will forget for everything else. So don't forget for her neck, for her arms, or anything else you can see. So I will take the dark part. This one we are going to do separately. Also this. Take care of her hairs. And now do something that's in the middle, in the mid-tones. Also on this side. And then here. Okay, so we can disable it. You can see a small little difference. The skin is soft, it's nice, but still when you look at it from the side, it doesn't look like, I don't know, ceramic. It looks still natural. I don't like the over retouched images, so I think this is fine. Okay, we just need to lower the opacity a little bit, so around 90%, that we still have something from the original. Okay, the second thing I'm going to do is also action. It's dodge and burn. I will also upload this action, but it's really easy. I have two layers. When you go to the curves, this one is darken, this one is lightening. So I'm going to paint whatever I want. I already have 3 copies of it, so I like to work in copies, because after that I can just adjust the opacity or delete it or something like that. So at the first dodge and burn group, I will hit the brush. I'm going to paint also, once again, opacity at 20%, flow at 20, and I'm just going to do a little bit contouring around hairs on her face. So under the cheek, little bit of here. I like to have a little bit black on her eyebrows. It looks a little bit brighter and contrastier. Okay, also around the nose. We can see that here you can see the reflection of the sun in her eyes, so it's going from this side. So I have to count that and try also to do the shadows on the same way. Okay, and now we can go to dodge, so create her a nice face like Barbie. So if we zoom it out, you can see what just the dodge and burn did with her face. So we have to take down the opacity once again and to find something that we like. This is the reason why I switch it to different copies, because I can edit them separately. So I can put a little bit darker around her neck, also on this hair and ear. Okay, that looks fine. Next one, I will copy it once again, or maybe twice even. Okay, what we can do here, I don't like this one still. I can put a little bit more of it here. Let's see. Let's look back, so delete. Okay, and the last one, we are going to edit her lips. Each and every girl on the globe will love to have bigger lips. How to do it? Just with the dodge and burn, just with shading. I don't like any liquify or anything else. If you will have bigger lips, you have to realize that the shade under this lip will be harder. It will be more darker. So we just add a little bit shade just right under her lip. Also, you can go on the bottom of this lip too, because when the lip is a little bit bigger, also there will be a little bit of shade, not just under her lip, but also on the bottom of her lip. Oh, that's the same as this second part at the top lip. So now we take the dodge. So we need to add a little bit more light, like the lip is hitting more light here, mainly in the middle of the lip and also on the side. Now we have to create the space between the darker and the lightened part, like really small, because that's what happened with light. And also on the top part of the lip, you can see already that there is a small white surrounding or lightened surrounding. So we just have to increase it and put a little bit more light also to this part. So easy. And now you can see how we just make her lip a little bit bigger. I have to still put something, some small amount of light in here. So that's all. Yeah, I think that's fine. Okay, so we just make her lips a little bit bigger just with playing with shades. Okay, so basically that's all from this part. Now what I am doing once again, I am copying it all, so hit Command A, Command Shift Copy, and then Command Shift V. It will merge all you have already here. As you can see, I'm still working in layers. Each one new edit or some adjustment, it's put on a brand new layer. So I will call this eyes. Once again, I will call it in Slovak language. I will put a negative mask on it and then switch it to screen. After this, I will use once again my brush tool. I will put opacity at 100%. And I will just lighten just the inside of her eye. And once again, the same as I already told you. You said it's too much. You just have to edit the opacity. Usually I go something around 30%. I think this way the eye looks a little bit shinier, but it still looks normal without anything. Okay, so this is the easiest way what to do with your portraits. At the end I will just switch it once back, take the level adjustments, put it to the luminosity, and with Alt you'll be able to edit the luminosity of your final image. Now we can add contrast. I am adding contrast a little bit differently. I am pulling up the dark shades, so there will be like something a little bit like gray, and then I will take it down just at the shade bars, and then in the middle I will put it back up. Maybe this is too much. Okay, so it will add a little bit of the contrast, but differently. So it's not the last thing at all, but I like to take it quick. We can go through something else when we are going to edit some campaigns. Okay, this time also the last thing I'm going to do is a little bit of coloring. I'm working with color balance. I will delete this one. So you had find it here, color balance on adjustment tool, and I'm going to switch it, the layer style, just to color, and you can see here you can adjust separately shadows, midtones and highlights. Once again I'm going to take 2 copies of it. In the first one I'm just gonna edit shadows, in the second one I'm just gonna edit midtones, and in the third one I'm just gonna edit highlights. This way I'm able to change the opacity of each one itself, so if I don't like it I just change the opacity. If I did it just in one adjustment layer, it will be hard to change it back. So we are starting with shadows, and usually I just go from one side to the other and find something I like the most. It's too blue here. It's springtime, why not? Okay, now midtones. We can put a little bit of the cyan here. I don't like it green. Also don't like magenta, so 0. And here, something like that. And now we just added the highlight, so probably I will put a lot of yellowish or something like that. That could work. I will put it in one group, and once again disable it, enable it. It's fine. Add just back a little bit of that contrast I lost. Okay, and usually you have your focus, or where you want to focus your audience has to be the most brightest part of the image. In this image that's not possible because we are shooting against the sun here, so I just put the midtones a little bit up. Okay, hit gradient mask, gradient, take the circular gradient and put it around her face. So the face will be a little bit brighter. And once again, put it to luminosity and edit the opacity. Okay, so when we are going to see the original image, edit it, there is a little bit change, not that hard, so you can still see I didn't put any of her hair away or anything like it. It's normal standard portrait. I like it this way because it's still natural, but it's edited, it's nice, it's easy, and I think the times when everything has to be over retouched are gone. So now this is the part what each and every one of you should do. Also, this type of editing is now required in all campaigns or anything like that, so it won't look like Barbie. You can still see that's the original size or original structure, not that over photoshopped as it was like 10 years ago. So I hope this tutorial helped you. see you soon in another one. I didn't have still decided if it's going to be a new tutorial about editing or retouching or shooting something. I will see what's come in my mind. So see you soon, guys.